Put Lieutenant Hitchcock on the line. There's trouble in the tower. Here's your look at the new Hiya Toys Robocop Battle Damaged ED-209 Exquisite Mini. Exquisite Mini is a new standard setting series for 1/18th scale, featuring super articulation action figures under Hiya Toys. I'm sure it's only a glitch. Before we get a closer look at the ED-209 battle damage version from Hiya Toys, let's grab the old ruler just to figure out how tall it stands. While I'm doing this as well, I'd like to thank the folks over at Hiya Toys that did provide this sample of battle damage ED-209 that we could have a look at in this video. The figure stands 6 1/4 inches in height, or about 15.5 centimeters tall. Unfortunately, I don't know the whereabouts of the original ED-209 that we looked at earlier here on this channel, produced also by Hiya. I would encourage you guys, if you did want the chance to see what that ED-209 looked like, the original one, check out my video maybe after this one's finished. As for comparisons of sizes, though, we can certainly bring in the original Robocops. This is the battle damaged Robocop that would pair nicely with the battle damaged ED-209, and then to follow it up, have it sandwiched on both the sides. Here's the original Robocop. This is also a precursor to the announced already, the Robocop 2 Kane. One of the first companies to produce an action figure of Robocop 2 Kane, and I'm super excited for it. I think Hiya Toys is producing 2 different variations of it. But as you can see, as in the movie, ED-209 is quite a bit bigger than the Robocops on either side of it. ED-209 here is based on his battle with Robocop just before he falls down the stairs. As you can also see, one of the gun turrets have been blown clear off. We're going to go ahead and pick the figure up. One neat thing about this ED-209, as with the original released one, is that this one does have batteries, as it does have sound effects. To access the batteries, just look to the undercarriage. And right there, there's a battery plate that has to be unscrewed. You'll be happy to know as well that the batteries were already assembled and installed by Hiya when you first get this figure, so you didn't have to do that right away. The batteries also activate this button here onto the side that when pressed, ED-209 will cycle through several audio clips pulled from the movie. Not necessarily specific to this scene, but specific, of course, to things that it says throughout the course of the movie. More so, I think, to the beginning of the movie than anything else. We're going to go ahead and press the button, and you can hear the sound effects go through. The sound works a little bit better, I find, if you hear it from the back rather than the front. From the front, it feels almost sort of distant. Pressing again. As you can see, it cycles through 3 different audio clips. I feel where there was a missed opportunity here. If this was a battle damage version of ED-209, I think it would have been a nice touch to include this sort of having the tantrum sound that ED-209 makes when it eventually falls down the stairs. In fact, they could have included the sound of it tumbling down the stairwell, and then a secondary sound where you would have had it screaming as if it was having a tantrum like a small child. Unfortunately, it doesn't come included with this, and I think it's the same audio clips that would have been packed inside the original ED-209 as well. Looking at the details here of the figure, of course, one of the main notable traits is the fact that this one does have the gun turret that's been blown right off. I do like the more ash smoke effect that they've added to the edge of it, so it does look like an explosion has happened, and it's charred the metal as resulting of it. Doesn't seem to be any bit of the case anywhere else on the figure. I mean, generally looking at it, if you were to look at it from this side only, you'd almost just think it's the regular clean ED-209. I feel like they probably could have gone in there and scuffed it up a lot more. By the time it really does tumble down the stairwell, ED-209 has been really scuffed up, similar to Robocop, just covered a lot with ash and darker colors. But it's generally quite a clean-looking figure when you're seeing it like this. One thing it also does have here on the other side turret, one that's still fully intact, is it does have the rocket launchers. I thought this was something that could come out, and while looking at it, it doesn't look like it can actually extend out any further than what you're seeing here. I really think that this could have been something that could have slid out, and while it does look like it can shift back and forth, I can't seem to get any bit of movement past this point. Anything after that, I feel like I might run the risk of breaking it, so we're going to leave it for the time being. Detail is just as good as the original ED-209 that we got before. Of course, the domed head onto the top sort of has like a basket woven meshing that they've sculpted in place. The coloring is pretty good as well. Like the original ED-209 we looked at earlier, I feel like the colors are maybe too blue. I would have maybe made them a little more grayish in color scheme. One feature that the figure also does possess is that you can extend out the legs, and I find it helps the easiest if you sort of take the legs and push your finger down the top almost as if you're using a syringe and extend the legs that way. I feel worrisome every single time I do this, thinking as if I'm snapping something along the ways. You can kind of see the tracking on the inside of the leg and how far really that leg extends out versus the one on the other side. I would never probably have the figure displayed ever like this, but I do like the idea that you can actually do that. And you, of course, can do it on the both sides as well. This one's a little looser than this side. This gives you the full length, full capacity of what ED-209 looks like. Yeah. Probably not going to ever display the figure like this. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of push as best we can all the way down. As you can hear, as I'm moving the leg, it hits all those tracks along the way. The other bit of posability that it also has as well is on the underside of the feet, you can take each of the individual toes and bend them, or at least 3 of the toes and bend those. The last supporting heel is not something that you can bend, and you really wouldn't want to force that either, but you can actually bend the feet. So if you didn't want to have it looking as if ED-209 is trying to find its footing near the end of, well, at least the battle with Robocop, you can kind of have it as if it's kind of teetering over top of that top stairwell stair. I might even take myself like a little display stand, something that's clear so I can actually prop it up, because obviously as it's state right now, there's no way it would be able to support itself just on the one leg. Even if you have the foot, the toes, completely flat on the one side, you sort of have to leave a little bit of the heel behind, this part right here. And if you can do that, you can kind of have it similar enough where it looks like ED-209 is sort of gauging the footing underneath it. Not fully, but I would think maybe to fix that, I might just take myself like a display stand. It doesn't have to be necessarily clear, but just something to prop the foot up a little bit so it has something to rest against. Paint, while we're certainly extending the feet or bringing the feet down, you can see they've also added almost what seems to be a little bit of rusting down below there. I like the little touch of detail like that. Like the figure is really well detailed, just as good as the original one that we looked at before. Everywhere that you look, doesn't seem to be a missed place at all. Oh, also articulation too, is that the top flat panels here can lift up. That will allow ED-209's arms to be able to actually extend or rotate all the way around. The individual wires don't seem to be a problem when you are extending the arms out this way. And you can also rotate it so you can have the arms going this way back and forth. The turrets also do rotate this way also. Something that I made the mistake of doing when we looked at the first ED-209 is that I had the top of the turrets like this. In actual fact, they should be down below instead. And then, of course, the main part, the main body, can rotate back and forth. Not by much, though, because as you're seeing here, as it rotates, it sort of seems to get hung up on itself. That you can't get a full rotation, but at the very least, you can rotate it back and forth this way. A decent-looking ED-209, just as good as the one that we got before. It's just a matter of preference more than anything else. Do you prefer your ED-209 to be clean and intact, or do you prefer your ED-209 to be more battle-damaged, falling down the stairs? Again, the only missed opportunity I feel here on this part from Hiya is that they didn't change out the sound effects. Instead of having just the neutral expected sound effects that would go along with ED-209, sort of the opener, when they're testing out its capabilities, I would have changed that up instead. Incorporated the sound effects that would have gone along with this scene. Having, for example, it reaching its foot out and sort of bending the sound that the toes were making as they were bending back and forth. Having it tumble down the stairs. And more importantly, if you're going to have a battle-damaged ED-209 like this, I would have really liked the screaming tantrum sounds that it's making when it reaches the bottom of the stairwell, and finally Robocop's able to escape. Or you can also display battle-damaged ED-209 once he's tumbled down to the bottom of the stairwell and he's frantically moving his legs back and forth. I like the look of that. Probably not going to be the way I'm going to display the figure, but we can certainly have a little bit more fun as it's spinning around here in the rotisserie. You can't move its legs back and forth. Still, I wish it could have incorporated the same sound effects, but having already mentioned that in the review, we're not going to talk any bit more about this. This is basically the same ED-209 Exquisite Mini we got before from Hiya Toys, slightly tweaked, of course, to incorporate the blown-off effect on the one gun turret. They didn't really scuff up the rest of the body. I think it would have been nice to add some more darker airbrushing of black around the rest of its body, too, to really look like it's war-torn and it's been battle-damaged with its battle with Robocop, although I gotta feel like Robocop got the worst of all of it. Nice-looking figure. I like, again, the fact it does have the sound effects, not the perfect sound effects, but at least it incorporates something else into the figure outside of being a smaller scale ED-209. That would go rather perfectly with the other ED-209 that Hiya Toys released earlier. I wonder if they will be releasing at some point another ED-209 with the whole top half of it blown off as Robocop's trying to enter into OCP headquarters. That's probably going to be a lot smaller of a packaging because at least like the whole top of it is completely missing. I wonder. And of course, this is all leading up to the eventual release of Hiya Toys Kane, Robocop 2 Kane specifically. As far as I know, they are releasing two different versions of Kane, one the main regular neutral looking body, and then one of course that has the visor that's opened up in its head. Super excited for those. Being a big Robocop fan, I can't wait for Robocop 2 to come out. Finally, a company that's tackling Robocop 2. Why have we waited so long for a company to finally decide to do a Robocop 2 Kane? Either way, though, I'd like to thank the folks over at Hiya Toys that did provide the sample of the Battle Damage ED-209 that we could have a look at in this video. What do you guys think of the figure? Do you have the original? And if you do, is this something still you'll venture to pick up for yourself? Let me know down below in the comments section. For your video question for today, what's your favorite Robocop movie? That seemed like an obvious one. I think most people probably would say Robocop 1. I wonder how many people will actually say Robocop 3. Nobody's going to say Robocop 3. But what's your favorite Robocop? I like Robocop 2 as well. It's not as good as the original, but love the fact that Robo's fighting another Robo. Love Robocop 2. But what do you guys think? Let me know. What's your favorite Robocop? Let me know in the comment section. And hey, now, if you are new to this channel, you're enjoying the content that you're seeing, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, turn on the bell notification, and keep your peepers peeled while we have wrapped up things for at least ED-209. There will be more Hiya Toys reviews coming your way, so make sure, of course, you're keeping your peepers peeled. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.